Alright, this is attempt 3 recording this video. But hey guys, what's up? Another day, another tutorial. Today I'm gonna be showing you how to make like more in depth at least how to make drums like Flying Lotus. I've previously done a Flying Lotus tutorial on my channel. Maybe you've already seen it, maybe you haven't. But I wanted to go a little bit more in depth and just sort of show a few more things with the drums in particular, because to me that's kind of like the most challenging area. Like, you can find good samples always. Making bass lines isn't too hard. There's a lot of ways to do it. But the drums are the real thing where I was kind of perplexed when I was first learning, and where I know a lot of people are trying to figure out like how to do it. As always, this project file and the samples from here are going to be available in the description for free download. It's right there. So you can just go ahead and get that if you want to go along with this video, or at the end you can download it. And if you're not in Ableton, you can use these samples in any DAW. Alright, so let's go in. So you heard in the intro we have this beat. I'll just go from top down. So to start off with, I have this kick. Let me take off this processing that's on the group, and I'll explain that at the end. So I started with this kick sample. Let me do show in browser so you can hear it. And I got this from this Ninth Wonder drum kit. If you Google Ninth Wonder drum kit, it's one of the most popular sort of like old school hip hop style drum kits that you can get. It's very popular. I've seen it everywhere. There's no way you can miss it. But it's got a ton of good sounds. A lot of the drums in here are from that. So I just took a kick from there that just sounded kind of like big and beefy. But if you listen, and then mine. I pitched mine down, -6, just to make it a little bit kind of thicker and more like thumpy, you know? Because I tend to find sort of like the kick is where a lot of the like bottom of the groove comes from, if that makes any sense. It's sort of like boom. So to get that you need a big thumpy kick, so I pitched this one down. And obviously the stuff that's on the group helps that as well, which we'll talk about in a sec. I have some percussion. So if you hear all this on its own, it sounds kind of weird. But it really works with the whole groove. And all I have is these Zap samples. I got these in some sound pack. I'll solo them. And then these ones. And yeah, they're just like some Zap sounds, nothing too much to them. I did alter some of them, like I pitched some of them down, and stuff, but that's really just a taste. There's nothing I can say much about that. It's just sort of something like when you're making this, you gotta do that yourself. And if you notice with a lot of these hits as well, I've taken them sort of off the grid. So what I did was you right click and hit this off here, and then you just have it off the grid and you can move it wherever. So I did that and moved these a little bit. I've done that with the kick a little bit as well. Like, see, this hit isn't perfectly on the line. And a few others with the snare and stuff. But yeah, that really helps with the groove. That's like very important. I think that's like one of the cornerstones of Flying Lotus' production is his ability to take things off of the grid, but still make it feel like a proper like loop and a proper groove. And so that's sort of what I did here. So I covered the zaps. I have like these percussion sounds. And then this one. I like those. It's nice to have that little right before that next kick. And that's just another sound I found in some sample pack. And I've cut it down a little bit, I think. And then I duplicated it over here, but I pitched the second one down -6 just to get a little bit of variation and just sort of messing around. And also this shows you like why it's cool to make drums in the actual arrangement view, because as opposed to like in a drum rack or even just opening a sampler, because you can do all these kinds of things really easily. You can just like, you know, stretch your drum sounds, pitch them, slice off the tails, all that kind of stuff you can do just right in here. So that's why I tend to do that. And then this last percussion sound is just like some tom sound. I pitched it down a ton. I'll show you the original. Show in browser. So just pitching it down and using that fade made it just kind of like a punchy sort of sound. And not too much to that. Like I said, it's just a matter of really serving the groove. Like if I play it without this percussion one track, it's still a cool groove, but with that really like, it's a nice little sound there. So last, as far as like these drums go, is I have this snare, which is also from the Ninth Wonder drum kit. And then I pitched it down -2. I'll show you the original. If you don't know, you can just right click and hit show in browser, and it'll pull up the sample location in your little like browser over here. So yeah, it's just pitched down, and it's on the 2 and 4 because we're at 86 BPM, but it is a little bit before the beat, which is again just going with the whole like taking things off the grid, live human feel. I'm sure you've heard this a million times. If you haven't, yeah, moving your snares forward a little bit is like very, very key to getting this sound. So doing that really helps. And also while I'm talking about the BPM, yeah, so I'm at 86 BPM. You know, these are like more like old school kind of hip hop type of beats. But they're usually slower, because usually old school hip hop is like maybe between 90 and 95. So like say we do 92. It just feels a little too fast. But 86 has like that slow, chilled out West Coast type of groove. So after the sort of like loose drums here, all I have is a shaker, which I actually recorded myself. Just using one of those little like egg shakers. But if you see, what I did was I recorded a long thing of me playing it. I didn't even play it to a metronome or anything. I just was like sort of thinking about the beat in my mind. And then what I've done is afterwards I went in and sliced out this little part. And if I set this one here, you'll see the upbeat is accentuated. The upbeat being like this 8th note here. It's accentuated by having this loudest hit there. So it's like that's obviously kind of important. So yeah, definitely recording your own percussion can really help. Obviously I use sample packs for a lot of these sounds, but recording my own shaker was a really cool little touch that you can do. That yeah, I mean anybody can do that. You know, you don't even have to have like a shaker either. You could literally just get like a cereal box or something and record yourself shaking that, like anything. Put like rice in a can or something, I don't know. But yeah, so that's that. And then I just had this vinyl crackle. It's very quiet. And if you listen, that is a loop. I've just taken this little 2-beat part, 2 beats being 1, 2, of it, but it doesn't sound like a loop. That's the key, is because when you have these little crackle samples, they have like a lot of things in them, like little percussive like pops and clicks. And you want to make sure it doesn't sound too much like a loop, or else it'll sound kind of fake. Like the key is to make it really sound like you're just listening to a record and there's noise over it. So you can take a short loop of noise like that, but you want to make sure it doesn't sound like a loop when you're playing it over and over and over again. So after that, I just had the processing on the whole drums. I put them in this group. I could have just put this on the master, I guess. But I just put them in this group. It's probably more standard to what you would do if you were actually making a song. So what I did was I put on this erosion, which is just adding a little bit of sort of high-end, like, fizzliness. I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's sort of like a bit crusher. It's just a little bit of something to add a little bit of nice crunchiness to the high end. I make it sound a little bit more like old and dirty, which is the key of this sound, is like making your sounds sort of like dirtier and more raw sounding. So that's what I did with that. And then I have, of course, a bit warmer. I wish I could like zoom in on that title. And like, yeah, so the a bit warmer is on there just to sort of beef everything up. That really makes it all like sort of glues it all together. And it brings out the erosion a little bit too. But yeah, that's pretty much that. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. If you like this video, let me know in the comments. Hit that subscribe, hit that thumbs up. And yeah, guys, go check out my sample packs as well, and go download this one for free. All in the description. Peace.